All right, episode 2. Very exciting. To pick up where we left off, we're about to hop into a few more topics, including quick overview here. Medical or marijuana in general is legal in
Yeah, they
Michigan.
fully legalized it in Michigan.
And wait. Okay, we're gonna get to that in 2 seconds. Wait, 2 seconds. And then you're starting a nonprofit. I'd love to hear more about that. And Bitcoin is as crazy as always. So and maybe more. But for now, okay, let's start with the marijuana thing. I just found out about that 2 seconds ago when you told me. So
Yeah. So they legalized it in Michigan, and it's all over the news now. Some people are in panic. Other people are making some opportunities out of it. So I have a coworker. He's looking to start a company. And then I recently talked to someone who needed an engineer to fix a few problems in his current growing facility. So in Michigan, they had legal medical marijuana where you could have, I think, like 70 some plants. So this guy's been growing it at almost like a factory level where he's making, tons of money every year. But he had some issues that, like, he wanted to close a gate, or he's spending lots of time moving water and getting rid of water from like some runoff. So just lots of problems for him to fix. And because there's not a whole lot of like infrastructure for what engineer do you call to solve your marijuana growth problems?
They call you.
I guess me.
Yeah.
So I think just the combination of my experience, like we were talking about the dishwasher, being able to transport things, I could solve a few of his problems. Some stuff he just never thought about before, like he didn't want to run a wire across one of his rooms, and I said, well, could you put a rubber mat down, or just any mat? And such a simple solution, and he's like, wow, I could totally do that. And the mat would make it so he doesn't have to worry about running over it or people tripping over it. And so, like, very simple things that's going to save him quite a bit of time because he doesn't have to walk back and forth connecting and disconnecting things. So I briefly mentioned that earlier because it's a freelance engineering job, and talk about creating an opportunity out of the legalization of a product. Looks like I'm going to be contributing in one way or another to that.
Hey, man, congrats. That's awesome. And most people don't think of the whole engineering. They're just like, oh, maybe, okay, there's a dispensary option, or like, marketing it somehow, but there's really so many aspects that go into it. I hope you keep us posted. Is that going to be like also on your blog, on your website?
Yeah. So that is, I think, it's more like a business to business. So I think I'm going to keep that a little bit separate from. So efficiency is everything is consumer advocacy. This is just kind of like a one-off solution to this guy's business problem. So.
Okay. All right. Well, and it could lead to more business opportunities for you, and you could be known as like the weed engineering guy. I don't know.
Right. I'll make your factories, right?
So cool. Yeah. All right. What else? We wanted to talk about so many other things. You're a nonprofit. How about that?
So actually really exciting. Last week on Tuesday, we had our first board meeting. So we were starting a nonprofit, and the idea is to use some of the lowest cost foods. So, from my website, we have a calorie per dollar study, protein per dollar study.
Which we'll link to for those of you if this is new. We're going to link to that below. Yeah.
So we have all those studies, and we wanted to combine that and teach children how to make like a low cost, easy recipe. So I don't know if you own a slow cooker. Do you have a slow cooker or a crock pot?
I do. I love that thing. Yeah.
So we have a recipe. You're gonna love it too. We cook this recipe probably 1 or 2 times a week. So we teach these 5th graders that we give them a slow cooker for them to take home, and then they try the recipe. So they try it all cooked, and then they get to assemble it themselves. So they take their slow cooker, they put 2 chicken breasts in, and they put 2 cans of soup in. So the cans of soup, we have this cream of broccoli. We have what's another one? Cream of mushroom or vegetable beef. So any of those soups, you put 2 of them in the slow cooker, and that's it. That's basically the recipe. So the chicken cooks with this can of soup, and then after 8 hours, you serve that over rice with the vegetable.
So it's a pre-made, like it's literally you're just taking it out of a can, you're putting in the meat, and that's basically
Turn it on, yeah.
Wow.
So very easy, something a 5th grader can do. Right. So the meal costs $6 and can feed 5 people. So It's extremely low cost.
Sorry, wait, a can
And
of soup and meat feeds 5 people?
oh, because you serve it with rice and a vegetable.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you
Yeah.
split it out.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, the cans of soup will give you like this creamy, salty,
Hmm.
like spice gravy. So it has its kind of own flavor. And the chicken obviously is high in protein per dollar.
Dude,
So
I haven't eaten for a couple hours. You're getting me hungry. Uh,
yeah, and this is really easy. So the crazy part, it really only takes about 2 minutes to make because you're throwing chicken and opening two cans up.
nice.
So, but yes, we've had some events already, and events went really well. We had some parents call the school and say how great of a event it was. So
Hmm.
that kind of gave us some momentum. And then most recently, we wanted to grow. So we had a meeting with kind of 6 influential people in both my life and kind of in the community around here. We all met up. We all showed up, which was really hard on all of our schedules. A lot of busy people, but we all met up. We kind of declared that we're going to who the board was, who the president was, different roles and responsibilities, and we have someone that used to run a nonprofit as president. So we got a kind of a lot of momentum going forward. So
Nice.
excited to see what happens.
Nice. What is like, do you have like, I don't know, like a tagline or a slogan, or like if you had to give your
Oh,
elevator pitch, like what is this charity? Like what are
yeah.
you about?
So we teach,
Yeah.
all right, we teach fifth graders how to make low cost meals that are healthy and delicious. So
I
I
like
think
it.
that's my tagline.
All right.
And then
Now,
kind of like a goal for the
hmm,
organization is if we can get $100,000 in donations, which is somewhat reasonable, we can teach every fifth grader in Southeast Michigan pretty every year. So for
yeah.
$100,000, every fifth grader will get a slow cooker and learn this meal.
Wow. And then just to think, if maybe this scope would be too big, I don't want to get ahead of yourself or get ahead of it. But if it works well in Michigan, why not spread to other states and
Right.
keep going
So
from there?
the great part is everything is low cost. The meals are
Hmm.
low cost. Slow cookers cost $11 to get the size we need for this recipe. So it seems very scalable.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of excitement having this team behind me now. Before, I just wanted to be kind of the donor and the person that came up with the recipe. But now we have some people that are active in the community, have ran nonprofits before. We have a nutritionist on the staff, and
Nice.
she said she's going to look into the vegetables a bit. So we just got a lot of momentum, which is great.
Did this? Okay, the last question about this. I'm just curious if this come because we hear so much about how the kids' cafeterias are horrible. It's like fries, burgers, tacos, and whatever. Did it come from that idea of just like they don't learn, or that's not a common thing to like kind of eat healthy and be aware of like nutrition? So this kind of is that where it came from, or were you
Yeah,
like the
I've
purpose?
heard this idea that like maybe parents wouldn't be feeding their kids well. And I do remember there was like one day when I was a child, my mom was playing video games and there was no food. And my mom's like, well, just go make yourself a sandwich. And I was like really hungry and maybe a sandwich would have been fine, but I didn't know how to cook like a meal.
Right.
And I thought, well, I had a pretty good lifestyle growing up. I can't imagine people in, say, poverty or people with even lazier parents. And I wanted to come up with a solution for them to basically free them. Maybe they don't need their parents to cook them food, they can do
Yeah.
it themselves. So that was kind of the original goal behind this. And then
Great.
plus I had all this food information, which, I wanted to share that.
Yeah, oh, so it's a way of kind of combining your efficiencies, everything, research with the nonprofit, helping kids stay healthy, all that stuff.
Right,
That's
teaching them the recipes that are low cost and
awesome.
easy.
Yeah.
It's a really easy recipe to make.
Okay, great. So for people watching this, if they think this is as awesome as I do and they want to help out, get involved, maybe donate, you have some link or something like that we
Yeah,
can.
I'll shoot you. It's
Okay.
kidsinkitchens.org. So I'll shoot you that link with the
Great.
recipe page. And right now, I guess the biggest thing is just making the recipe. If you're going to get into this nonprofit, I want you to try it yourself because it's a great recipe. It takes 2 minutes to make. It's delicious. It's low cost. And I think once you try it yourself, you'll realize why we have to share this recipe. And maybe it's just you telling friends. Maybe it's donations. Maybe it's hosting an event. But
Yeah.
yeah, once you try this, I think most people are sold. They love the recipe.
Well, I would like to try it myself.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, and so when you give me that link, I'm going to put that in the description below. So anyone watching, of course, it'll be there now. Again, thank you for watching this exciting part 2 And we'll be back. Thank you, Michael. Thumbs up and subscribe for part 3 coming very soon. And we're going to be talking about the crazy state of maybe crypto, Bitcoin, if any of you have been watching that. And what else? Part 3. Anything?
Oh, I got other really easy meals, so I'll share those tips too.
Cool. And then whatever crazy things just come up because we're just having fun chatting. Cool. All right. Adios for now. See you in part 3. This is great.